Green Man! 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 Holy YouTube video, Green Man!
Hey, it's me again, still around my dad's. Nice and pink in here. People have commented lovely how pink it is. Yeah. I was going to go out today to Shoeburyness. I was going to show you some more footage of some of the local coast. But my dad wore himself out gardening and he didn't fancy it in the end, so he didn't bother. He had to do shopping today as well, so no worries, and no... I don't know if he wants to go tomorrow. I don't know if we're going to go tomorrow or not. But yesterday I finished off my podcast, my 33rd Patreon exclusive show, all based on the Outer Limits. And last night we did Catman Jack's 50s Hop, which is going to be out next month. So it's the August show. We just recorded it early. That's all. It's the first time we've actually been able to do recording together. But what we've been doing the last two shows, which were rather higgledy-piggledy, rather hodgepodge, as I was doing it via the internet. So I was calling them and I was doing like a call on, I can't remember if I did it on StreamYard last time, and I think I wanted to try and do it on StreamYard, but he couldn't work out StreamYard. So I think we just chatted on Messenger Chat, and I was recording it on my, and there was loads of lag, so we're talking over each other and not hearing each other. I'd be saying like, right, okay, Dad, I'm going to start now, and then I'd start, and then 3 seconds later we'd go, okay then. That's why I'd start again. So that was happening quite a bit, and the sound was distorting and everything. But yeah, there was, it was just something to do anyway. We got 2 shows done, not great sound quality, certainly not in the DJ department anyway. But anyway, last night we managed to do the first show together since March, and we did our usual, had some Chinese food, drunk quite a few beers, drank some Jägermeister, and yeah, it was good stuff. Watched a horror movie as well called Black String. I think it was called Black String. Yeah. Some kind of voodoo film. He was like, is he really been bewitched by some witch, or is he just mad because he had some mental issues? But it turns out, no, he really was. Well, I think he really was. Because he ends up being disemboweled anyway. So, but he was holding the knife. But I don't think he did it himself. Because how did he get hold of the knife? I think that was just putting his hand as a cover up for the demon disemboweling him while he was. Like, I think I was pretty sure he was tied to the bed as well. So. Yeah, I don't think he could have disemboweled himself. I can't remember now. Anyway, I've got a new Patreon. Well, someone in the comic community has just signed up to me as a Patreon. I don't know if he wants to. I don't think there's any reason for. No, he's not got a reason to keep it quiet. He mentioned it in the comments. So big shout out, big thanks and love. You rock. You are the juice. To fiversrevenge. He subbed me up on my Patreon. So I've sent him a few of my heavy metal shows. Hopefully he'll enjoy them because he's now hopefully if he stays a Patreon he'll get plenty more of those. Plenty more of those come from mate. You get one of those. He's already got 33 that I've got to send him. Plus he'll get another one every month that he remains a patron. So if any of you headbangers out there, any of you comic people are headbangers out there, then sign up to my Patreon. The link will probably be down below. I am still considering of making like tiers for comic book people as well, but I don't know what people would be interested in. If you think, give me some ideas of what people would be interested in as patrons, if anyone was even interested in becoming a patron. I just like I can do with the podcast. I give my patrons an extra exclusive podcast every month, which I think is bloody good quality. If you ask me, it's like 3 hours of music and themed chat. So, like for example, the Twilight Zone. I didn't know last night's was the Outer Limits. Yesterday's one was the Outer Limits, or rather, this month July's was the Outer Limits. So I went through most of the first season of the Outer Limits, talking about the different episodes, talking about who directed it and was involved with the sound and the makeup and that kind of thing. To be honest, I'm just reading from Wikipedia, so it's kind of a cheat really, but it makes for quite interesting themes for listening to, it's just a device to find different bands. So it's mainly if you're into your heavy metal, particularly underground bands, because I always play underground bands. You can't play bands that are big and huge because you get copyright strikes and stuff like that. And to be honest, I'm not interested in the big bands. I'm interested in the small bands. I've always been into the underground. The people who the people who play gigs to like 5 people. Obviously, I wish they could be like mainstream, but most people are destined to stay underground because very, very few people get discovered. But like, I like to put shows together. Maybe if you're into music, maybe someone will be discovered by being heard on my show the first time. You never know. Anyway, read a few comic books as well. I can't tell you about this one because I'm still in the middle of reading it. I've only got 1 page in, but I've been reading some Superboy, The New Adventures of Superboy. I can't be that far away from finishing this run now. So what did I read today? I read this one, number 5. In this one, this one features my most hated food, tomatoes. I can't stand tomatoes. They're horrible. They look horrible. They smell horrible. They're all wet and miserable inside with them shiny. I can't stand tomatoes. And the smell, disgusting. But anyway, for some reason, these aliens attack Ma Kent's tomatoes. Literally, they do. They wither her tomatoes. They've been growing really nicely, and apparently they're very tasty. But I can't believe tomatoes could ever be considered tasty and nice. But what happened? It turns out Superboy goes after them, and eventually he captures them. He finds out that they're not like alien invaders or anything like that. What it was, they're actually farmers, and one of the ships landed there for repairs at one point, and when it took off, there was a hole in its grain silo or something like that, and red seeds came out. Some seeds came out, and it ended up polluting certain bits of the country. And also that what it was, because their food was grown in a red sun environment, it meant that when the seeds got into food that Superman ate, his powers were going screwy. So that's why he's using his indestructible cape here, rather than just relying on his own body to protect him, because his powers are going screwy because he's been eating these tomatoes. Even though he doesn't need to eat, his parents say, well, maybe you should eat because we don't know all about your powers. Maybe if you don't eat, eventually you'll suddenly go ill or something like that. So keep eating, even though you don't necessarily feel hungry, because we don't know how it will affect you if you don't. So, and it turns out that eating Ma Kent's tomatoes was messing up his powers for a while. But anyway, then they... so he helps them to get rid of all the red seeds that have contaminated the earth crops. And because he refuses to accept any gifts for his work, they offer a gift to Kent instead, which I think plays out in Action Comics around the same time. I'm pretty sure I've read that one as well. I think because Kent dies, doesn't he, at one point, and I think they allow him somehow to go to the future or to be alive again in the future, and he visits Clark in Metropolis. And like he's suitably surprised and suspects all kinds of it's not really, it must be a robot duplicate. It's a plot by Luthor or something like that. But I think that's what happened. Because I remember reading a comic a little while ago where Kent was alive in Metropolis. I think maybe it was just I think his wish was like to see his son grown up and being successful, and I think that's what happened in that. Anyway, I can't remember. I'm not 100% sure because I read that one quite a while ago. Right, then this next one, someone comes over. Chief Henderson, I think it is, comes from Metropolis to try and convince Superboy that Smallville's too small for him. He should be in a big town, like come to Metropolis and help us out. In the long run, he is tempted, but Pa and Ma have words with him. There's some criminals who also come from Metropolis who are committing crimes in Smallville because the Smallville safe is the same make as the safe in Metropolis, and they're just using it as a trial run, dry run kind of thing. And they wanted to get pictures of the safe so they could make a duplicate but larger like the Metropolis one and put rockets on it. And somehow, I don't know how they was going to get that. If they was going to manage to get that into the safe in place of the safe that was already there, and then have the safe rocket out, they might as well just, if they can break into it, change the safes over. What? Surely they're changing the safes over, then they've already got the safe. Why would they need to put another safe into? Yeah. but it was I don't think they thought that through too well, to be honest, either the writer or the crooks. But in the end, he decides not to go to Metropolis. He saves Henderson's life. He decides not to go to Metropolis because as he says, he's not ready. Smallville, maybe a small town, but it's his training ground, and he wants to, before he thinks of moving to any large, conurbations. What is that the right word? He wants to make sure that he's fully confident in his powers, and so that's why he decides to stay in Smallville. This one was quite a good story. It's got the 28-page bonus Superman story inside, which I've read a few times already. It's the computer. Yeah, I'm doing a video, Dad. I'm doing a video. Down in a minute.
No, tell me what fish you like.
Oh, just get some cod, please.
Cod?
Yeah.
Haddock's better.
Whatever.
Well, have cod if you want it.
That's what I normally have, but...
Haddock tastes much better than cod.
Go on, I'll take your word for it. I'll have what you said.
Have cod.
No, if you say it tastes better, I trust you.
Haddock.
Yeah, please.
Large haddock.
Please, Dad.
Right, okay.
I'm having fish and chips for dinner.
Well, they haven't got haddock, they have cod.
Yeah, that's why Dad's taking my order for fish and chips. I'll leave that in. Slice of life kind of stuff on the Bloggy blog today. Yeah, so it's got the 28-page bonus story where Superman teams up with some children who've got some computers to take on a major disaster. Is it major disaster or general disaster? It's major disaster, isn't it? He's got some kind of... he seeded some clouds, like tornadoes or something, with something that affects Superman's brain, so he can't calculate properly to be able to rescue, like, catch airplanes and stuff like that. So these two kids, he's got a headset, these two kids work out, they type in the computers using the program. It's just basically a 28-page advert for some computers, and yeah, it was an interesting it's a fun enough little story. But the main story in this one is quite good. One of Superboy's neighbours has discovered that his parents are actually aliens, so he goes to confront these aliens, and they escape via a teleportation beam, but he grabs hold of one of them as they're escaping and goes with them, not knowing that that was secretly what they wanted him to do, because they wanted him back on their Earth, or their planet rather, because their planet is in danger from, it's like cosmic rays, but it's got a different name, and it's slowly poisoning them all. They no longer have the ability to fight them off. But what they worked out, it was Superboy, because his dense, say, Kryptonian physiology soaks up these rays, so they don't affect anybody else. He soaks them up. No, they're not harming him, but he soaks them up, and basically that means that they won't die. But they say to him, well, you can't leave. If you leave, we're all going to die. Are you really going to leave and let a whole world die? And so he's got like a 10-hour window where he can go and say goodbye to people on Earth, and he's talking to his parents. And his mum makes a comment, oh, we was always worried about you dying, for something happened to you, something like kryptonite affecting you. And he's like, oh yeah, that's it, Mum. And he runs out, or Ma, he calls her Ma, I think. And yeah, because he realised, well, it hasn't got to be me, just because I'm kryptonite with my heavy mass. It could be something else from Krypton that's got a heavy mass that will soak up these rays. So he manages to gather up a load of kryptonite, obviously at long arm's reach, and he takes that to the planet, and they use that to soak up the rays instead, so he can still stay on Earth, and that planet will still be saved. And they ended up forming the kryptonite into a kryptonite statue of Superboy. So I thought that was quite good. I like that one. Am I easily pleased though? What? I mean, if you can't enjoy your comics, if your comics don't give you a little laugh, then there's no point reading them, or a bit of a thrill or excitement or fear or any kind of emotion. If you're reading comics and not having any emotion from them at all, there's no point reading them, is there? And this one was pretty cool. Is this the one, or is this the other one? Oh, where's the one? It's not really showing me from the story. It wasn't that one, was it? No, this is the one. But this bit with the tigers only ties in for a little bit of the story. He basically pretends with Lana that because he was one issue recently. He showed himself as being quite brave, and she's all over him a bit because she thinks he's brave. And but Lana's depicted, she's quite fickle. She runs hot and cold with Clark Kent, like Lois really. And so he pretends to be scared of some tigers, but it's quite serious. It's like, yeah, he hid for some tigers, and now Lana no longer thinks he's brave. Yeah, but that's just sensible. If you're a normal human boy, you would hide for some tigers. Very sensibly, to be honest. So, but anyway, but then it turns out he's going to go to Coast City for the weekend. Pa's brothers having a wedding anniversary, and on the plane to Coast City, he meets a guy called Howard. A guy called Howard, who, when the plane starts to give out, Howard just tries to climb everybody down, and he mentions how he doesn't have any fear. He's like, oh yeah, I don't really have any fear. I've never been scared. I don't know why. I'm just never scared. But Superboy saves the plane from his seat. He manages to steer the plane by holding onto the seat, and like it's nonsense physics probably, but he manages to hold the plane and land the plane safely. And he meets up with this Howard guy a couple more times in Coast City. I learned what hang 10 meant. I always heard sort of hang 10. They say hang 10. It's sort of like surf. It's a surfing phrase, isn't it? Apparently it means you're hanging 10 toes off the edge of your surfboard. I've never known that. I've always heard hang 10 as being a phrase, but I never knew what it actually referred to. I don't know if that's a news for any of you guys out there or not. But yeah, hang 10 is 10 toes over the edge of your surfboard. And also we find out that Clark doesn't like the Beach Boys. He prefers who was the person he said that he preferred? See if I can find it for you, so you can know who. It was like an old country and western kind of guy, I think. Let's see if I can find it. Anyway, there's a sort of tsunami or a massive cloud wave at some point. Andy Williams. He prefers Andy Williams. So he's someone kicks sand in his eyes while he's on the beach as well. And of course, being Clark, he has to just shrug it off, kind of thing. And then there's a giant cloud that comes from somewhere. This chapter 3 is called Brightest Day, Blackest Night. In case that doesn't give you any clue already to who Howard is. Howard Jordan, aka Hal Jordan, who eventually becomes the Green Lantern. I think that was I got quite a touch out of that. I got quite a look when I realised it was Hal Jordan that he met up with. I was like, oh, that's really cool. He's like a young Clark Kent meeting up with a young Hal Jordan before he becomes a fighter pilot or a jet pilot rather, and a superhero himself. But I was really quite pleased with that story. And he sees him off at the airport as well. They managed to foil some smugglers, a gang of smugglers who have a submarine. Howard gets caught, but Superboy comes to his rescue, and he also takes out the people who have got him as well. He just headbutts one of them. Yeah, so he doesn't show any fear, which is how he always used to be. Right, so I enjoyed that story anyway because it had a young Hal in it, who was a nice bloke. And this one is good. There was a couple of Kryptonians who turned out to be Clark Kent's real parents. They left him as a child on the door of Jor-El and Lara. They were criminals, but he's got them captured. He manages to capture them at the end of the last issue before this one, and he's got them. I did point this out before with an old Superman on a blog, I think 2 days ago. I pointed out his method of imprisoning people leaves a lot to be desired. I mean, I'm pretty sure that his mode of imprisoning people would be against various Geneva conventions. Literally, it's two people in this tiny little cage, no facilities, barely any room to stand, no chairs, no beds. That's how he's got them imprisoned. And because they're Kryptonians, it's a kryptonite cell with lead covering the kryptonite. But if they try and break the lead, they'll the kryptonite will be exposed and there'll be damage. I'm assuming that was the case anyway. Yeah, but right. So yeah, he's got a machine that can probe his mind and see his old memories that he doesn't remember from when he was a baby, and he sees these people really are his parents according to the memory machine. But it turns out, of course, that telepathy, the woman villain, has used telepathy to make him have that memory. Once he uses the machine, it tosses out that memory. Right, he manages to. Right, he pretends that he's with them. He breaks them out. They get into a spaceship, but then he takes them to a red sun planet. He manages to escape from them. He looks like he's, but to be honest, I don't think his plan was that well thought out, because he nearly gets killed. He's like back broken by the geezer, who's got some Kryptonian martial arts. But then he remembers some Kryptonian martial arts he saw his parents doing, and where his memory was tricking him before, his fake memories were tricking him before, his real memory manages to save him, and he uses a counter move, gets the guy down, and runs off in their ship kind of thing, and leaving them both stranded on this red sun planet, a deserted red sun planet. And the backup story, Dial H for Hero, particularly good. I really enjoyed this one, actually. I often do anyway. I often do enjoy Dial H for Hero. I quite like the villain. The villain was invented, I think, by a 16-year-old kid. I just thought he was really fun, a really fun name as well. Someone, 15-year-old from Mayagüez, PR. Puerto Rico, is that? Mayagüez, PR? Puerto Rico? And Eugenio Ocasio. Yeah, and the guy's called the Senses Taker. The Senses Taker. He's like a census taker, but he's the senses taker. And he's able to take away people so they can't see him, so he can make them blind to where he is. They can make it so you can't hear them where he is, kind of, you know. I thought it was a really cool villain, the Senses Taker. I like the name as well. I love the little play on words on that one. And he basically steals a component from a nuclear facility that's going to make it blow up unless the mayor gives him loads of money. Chris King goes after him. He turns into the Red Devil, who's got the ability to change into any demon, apparently. But he's been... he knows that recently he's been charging him like a bull in a china shop. And... Vicky's been saying to him, you know, you've got to think more, you've got to think more. So rather than going straight into him, he turns into an invisible demon himself, so he can trail the Senses Taker back to his hideout. And Vicky King, her dial, when the other person's dialed up, their respective dial like shines up, so they know that they've changed into a hero. So they know, oh, they probably need help. And she's with a guy called Nick Stevens. And in this backup stories, in the Superboy, New Adventures of Superboy, this guy seems to be able to, whatever he draws, he's an artist, and whenever he draws a character, he was always drawing characters, and it turns out to be characters that they end up turning into. So it's a bit of a mystery. So he's just created a character there called the Monarch, and Vicky straight away changes into the Monarch just seconds after. Beautiful butterfly lady, invented by a person called David Brown, age 13, from Fresno, California. The Monarch, yeah, it's a monarch butterfly, isn't it? Oh, the Red Devil was created by John Potter, age 12, some Scaniatellis in New York, in case anyone was wondering. Yeah, so, and then the way they capture the guy is quite funny as well. He pretends to be a demon. He turns into a different type of demon, and he pretends he's gonna kill him. I'm gonna eat you. I'm gonna send you to hell for your evil deeds. And she comes into pretending that she's going to rescue the Senses Taker. And she goes, here, let me wrap you up in this protective cocoon. And then when he tries to break out, he realises he's trapped, and they've outwitted him, they've fooled him. And I thought that was a really fun, cool little story. And I do love Dial H for Hero. It's great stuff. I need to find out when I know not Robbie Reed, who I love as well, Soccer G. But I need to know when the first appearance of these two as the H-Dial owners were. I've got a feeling it might be in the DC Comics Presents, which I had that one. So, but I need to just check that, because I'm never too sure if this. I think this run of New Adventures of Superboy with them in the back of it might predate the Adventure ones that are in. I'm not too sure though. Or do the Adventure ones predate the backup story in these ones? I'm not too sure. But anyway, yeah, that's enough about my comics for today. Well, not really, because I'm going to pass over to Graham from 3 days ago. He's going to tell you some more. He's going to show you some more comics from my box number 10. I don't know if I'm going to Shoeburyness tomorrow. If I do, I'll do some, I'll show you some sights of Shoeburyness. Oh, and jingle. I'm going to do a jingle for Fiversrevenge. This is my new scheme, actually. Jingles for people who make a comment the night before. And if I've jingled everybody already, I'll probably find a less bigly channels. So it's either going to be less bigly channels, it's going to be people who do me super chats, it's going to be people who join my Patreon, they get a jingle, of course. And then other than that, it's just going to be whoever's left a comment. Like, so if you leave a comment today, you might have a jingle tomorrow night. Woo! I know how sought after those jingles are. They're the talk of the comic community. Not really. But anyway, do I say will your news be good news? No, Graham from the past will say that. Anyway, so over to Graham from the past. Thank you for watching. No, I'll let him say that. I'll leave that all to him. Bye. Thank you, Future Grey, for passing it back to me in the past. I'm going to show everybody some Darkstars. All of these Darkstars. Boy, there's quite a few. There's quite a few Darkstars here. Not very well appreciated, these Darkstars. I keep seeing like the first 5 issues, like people trying to almost giving it away. Because, you know, it hasn't achieved any value, I suppose. It's kind of one you wonder if, like, in 20 years' time, it's something to become a hot book for some reason. Maybe when they do the Green Lantern Corps, the Darkstars will appear as, you know, characters, you know, the Green Lantern Corps movie or TV franchise. That would be cool. Tales from the Green Lantern Corps as a TV franchise. That would be absolutely awesome. Right. Pop this down here. Darkstars #1. I can't remember this guy's name, but he was like the leader of the Darkstars. I don't think it was a bad story from what I recall of it. A little bit 90s art. This is from 92. But yeah, not too bad. I know Donna Troy became a Darkstar for a while. I think she lost her Amazonian-based powers for some reason. I can't remember now. She was retconned so many times, wasn't she? At one point they decided that she was the Titans, she was a member of the race. There were aliens from another planet or something like that. Either that or it was the Titans of Greek myth who moved to out of space. Something like that. Yeah. yeah, stuff happened. There's Evil Star. There's a song, Evil Star, by a band called Wolf. Evil Star. I can't do it at the moment. It's early in the morning, throat's dry. That's my excuse. Yeah. I can't remember any of the other people from the Darkstars team, so it's been a heck of a long time since I read it. Early 90s when I was just a younger man than I am today. 28 years ago? That's more than half my lifetime ago. 27 years ago, because this one's from 93. Yowza. Lots of interesting space action. Flint Disgraced. So obviously one of the guys is called Flint. This guy here is walking off with his duffel bag over his shoulder. I'm guessing he's Flint. It looks like he's been kicked out of the Darkstars. What did he do? Fall from Grace is the name of that issue. Tin Stars and Darkstars. Looks like he's herding up cattle. Or rough riding a bison or something. I don't know. Rodeo. Bison rodeo. The bison looks like it's... Why it's got a big brain written on its head. Is anybody's guess. Enter Kalash. And it's not Clash, it's Kalash. Because there's a little apostrophe. Kalash, I'm going with. Not Clash. Yeah, you've got to pronounce it right. Otherwise these aliens get really annoyed. It's like, my name is not Clash, it's Kalash. Do you mind? Let's show some respect. There you go. Some guy bursting through a meteor or something. Right, Trinity. This was crossing over with Green Lantern and Legion. Legion, well, it would be Legion 93 because that's the year that it was in. And yeah, I always mention this when I come to Trinity. The death of Bertrand Dibb. Poor Bertrand. He was so cute. He was a big, giant rock guy. And his catchphrase was always, "Don't worry, I'm impervious." And in this particular panel, His catchphrase was cut off in mid-sentence as he wasn't quite as impervious as he needed to be for the situation. And he was no longer impervious, instead he was incinerated. Poor Bertrand Dibb. I still remember him though. I still remember you, Bertrand. I should get a t-shirt up. Bertrand Dibb, we remember you. Something like that. Oh. I once did a thought about that. I seriously put in thought to making a website of like fallen superheroes and like, are they still dead kind of things, like updates, like, you know, so it's like just like features of all the deaths of superheroes throughout comic book history, and like then like updates, are they still dead? No, they were reborn in so and so, and this is how it happened kind of thing. So like I don't know, a chronicle of dead superheroes kind of thing. This one looks like it's got a bit of water damage on the back, it's a bit crinkled. Nothing too terrible though. Just a bit crinkly on the back there, if you can see it even. Riders of the Storm. That's another blinking heavy metal tune, Riders of the Storm. Unmasked. The Eve of Destruction for the Darkstars, featuring Flash. Cover by Radu Burke. Bit of bit of an acquired taste, that cover, I'd say. This means war. I think this Darkstars are still going as a force in DC Comics, but they were like a rival galaxy-wide law enforcement team, weren't they? That the brother race of the Guardians of the Galaxy, the Owens, was I think they were called the Controllers. I think these guys were a force put together by the Controllers. It's not a very good name, is it? The Controllers. That makes them sound very I'm not sure what the word is, but worrisome. Let's go with worrisome. Makes them sound like they're controlling. But what would the word would that be in government terms? Not draconian, authoritarian. Yeah. Kolos is out of the Darkstars and Donna Troy is in. That was the name of the bald guy, the main guy from Darkstars, Kolos. I've just remembered on number 23 and the fact that he's on the cover. But what was his surname? Does it say Kolos? Kolos. Ferin Kolos. I think it was the Controllers anyway that led these guys. Let's have a quick look. Is that a controller there? He's being court-martialed. Zura, the Darkstars, a Green Lantern from yesterday arrived to save the future today. Is that Abin Sur? Is that Abin Sur has arrived from the past to help the future? He's a pretty famous Green Lantern who's red like that. The Darkstars, Retribution. Is that Ferin Kolos in his no longer a Darkstar identity? The Ashes of Defeat, the Darkstars, guest starring Starfire. Donna Troy's Teen Titans comrade. Dark Kolos Rising, the Darkstars. Angry, powerful looking close up. Donna Troy is in a fight for her life. He looks like Ironclad from the UFOs or a shiny Wildcats villain. Or one of the bad guys from Pit. Mass resignations from the Darkstars. The Darkstars all look kind of human. Are they all humans apart from Kolos? That lady's waist is walking away there. It's unfeasibly slim, isn't it? And then the cut of her jacket looks a bit, makes her look like she's got a square body. But her waist looks like it's too slim. The Darkstars guest starring Green Lantern. Yeah, because Kyle Rayner and Donna Troy had a relationship for a while, didn't they? And I think Donna Troy died while they were in a relationship. I think Jade died when he was in a relationship with Kyle Rayner. And his original girlfriend, Alex, I think her name was killed by Major Force. So, ladies, don't date Kyle Rayner. That's all I can say. It's not worth it. He's a nice guy, but you might die. That's the jingle for Kyle Rayner. Kyle Rayner, he's a nice guy, but don't date him or you might die. There you go. Guess who wins? Oh, Darkseid versus the Darkstars. Guess who wins? Ooh. Plus Kolos sets out to free the enslaved Genuinians. Genuinians? Or Genuinians? Isn't he a rapper? Genuine. The Darkstars as Deathstroke and Supergirl also involved. No more Mr. Nice Muggler. Is that anything like a poozer? Is that his equivalent of a poozer, a muggler or something like that? Right, Darkstars 34, The Siege of Zaicharan, part 3 of 5. Crossing over with what? I don't know. I'm not sure what it crossed over with. I'm guessing got to be Green. I'm guessing it crossed over with Supergirl and Green Lantern. That's what I'm guessing. Don't ask me why I'm guessing that, other than the fact that they're both on the cover, and it would make sense. And they were both ongoing titles at the time, I'm sure. Number 35, Welcome to the Pleasure Dome. Blue girls. Blue girls for extra pleasure. Oh yeah, a nice shade of blue. Comments down below, what would be your favourite alien partner? You know, if you had to choose an alien partner who had different skin colour, what would you go for? I don't know, I like orange. I'm quite fond of orange space women. Yellow's quite nice as well. But yeah, I don't know, I think the exotic, whatever skin colour they had, I think it would be fine. Although, of course, I'll stick with my Earth lady, you know, in the real world, but in a fantasy reality where, you know, a multicoloured smorgasbord of women was available to me. You can have a whole rainbow, a rainbow harem. Yeah, right. Oh, dearie me. I'll stick to the one Earth woman who's crazy enough to be with me. That would probably be for the best. Right, and finally, in the Darkstars run, number 38. Going off into battle. I don't know if the Darkstars were split up. And it says at the bottom here, One Last Time with Feeling. Mike Collins and Kim Branch, is it? Looks like it could be Kim Branch. And this is from 95. Yeah, so they're going out in style. Other characters, black and white in the background. Yeah, so that was the Darkstars run. I think there might have been was there a new 52 Darkstars? I'm sure there was another Darkstars run recently. I haven't got it though, but I'm sure I remember seeing there being another Darkstars run at one point. And I think they're still going in the universe, DC universe. That's cool. So that's it. That's my Darkstars run. Cheers for watching. If I find a small channel to shout out, the link will be down below. Plus there'll be a jingle. You know you love the jingles. Tell me how much you love the jingles in the comments, and just make a comment as well. If you watch this video, please leave a comment, please give a thumbs up, because it all helps the analytics, helps it to get seen by other people, and you know, it's just nice. It helps me to feel good inside if I get comments. If I have like no views and hardly any comments, it's I've said that before. I must stop trying to garner pity from my viewers. I'm out of here. Until next time, may all your news be good news.
Go and sub up Fiver's Revenge. He is the juice and he is the bomb. Go and watch him show some comics and some books. He's a really good geezer. La 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 la.